Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And it's Wednesday night yet again. Here we are on Wednesday night, and we are already in week 8. Absolutely crazy. We are already in week 8, and today we have a crazy week to go over. I had a really good week last week in my game picks, going 12-3, bringing my overall record to 65-42. And we are improving that record back to back very good weeks now. And we are rolling. We are now 3-4 in both the locks and upsets category, and we are slowly improving the season record, and I am excited. So we are very close to the halfway point of the year. Next week is the halfway point of the 2024 NFL season. But we are in week 8. It is week 8. We have all 16 games, no bye weeks this week, and it's going to be fun. So let's jump right into it. Starting off with Thursday night football. It is Kevin O'Connell versus Sean McVay in a Vikings versus Rams intriguing Thursday night football game in SoFi Stadium. And obviously, we know Kevin O'Connell worked under Sean McVay for all those years in LA before he got hired as the Vikings head coach. Two very good head coaches here matching up in Los Angeles. And this game's very interesting for Minnesota. They were undefeated. They lost their first game. Jake Bates had a game-winning field goal on them with the Detroit Lions last week. Minnesota dropped their first game. Still a very good performance. Darnold played well. The Vikings played very well. I still expect them to be a very good football team. They still look like it. As for the Rams, they squeaked past the Raiders last week in a 20-15 game at home. Matthew Stafford now has Cooper Kupp back in the lineup. Puka Nacua got activated off IR. They opened his 21-day window. Will not play tomorrow, but Cooper Kupp will make his first action since week 2 tomorrow. And this is intriguing because this is a tough game to pick for me. I think this game could go either way. McVay at home on a short week. I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take him. TJ Hawkinson could be back. Oh, I gotta switch to bold here. TJ Hawkinson could be back for the I did not mean to do that. Hold on. We're all messed up here. TJ Hawkinson could be back for the Minnesota Vikings, making his season debut, but I'm going to take the Rams at home. I think that they have a very good chance of this game. McVay on a short week. I like that. I like those odds. I like those odds. So give me the Rams. And I went over my picks already before I started hit record on this video, and I have some spicy upset picks this week. So that's just number one. I have some spicy upsets. I probably have like 2 or 3 picks that could be my upset of the week. So I have some pretty good ones here. But starting off, I'm picking the Rams tomorrow night. And then we have an AFC North matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens, they're rolling. They're rolling. They've won 5 straight. They blew the brakes off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The game was closer than it actually was. The score was 41-31, but the Baltimore Ravens were absolutely amazing on Monday night. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdown passes. He hit the Jackson 5. The Ravens are rolling. They look like one of the best teams in the entire National Football League right now. As for Cleveland, my Bengals beat them last week. Deshaun Watson going out for the year with a torn Achilles. And Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR, going in the game. He got hurt. Jameis Winston came in towards the end. Kevin Stefanski did say that Jameis Winston will start this week for the Cleveland Browns. I actually think that will be a boost for this offense. I expect Jameis Winston to elevate the offense more than Deshaun Watson did. Might be a crazy take, but I expect that. Deshaun Watson was terrible all year before the injury, obviously. But it'll be Jameis Winston at the helm. It will also be Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, calling plays for the Browns now. This is like an interesting game for me because Baltimore's hot. I think they're really due for a loss in Cleveland. Jameis Winston giving a new spark to that offense. I mean, I'm gonna pick the Baltimore Ravens. I'm gonna pick the Baltimore Ravens. But I mean, I really could see. I would not be surprised to see a Cleveland Browns upset. I am not a big fan of Ken Dorsey. I'm not really the biggest fan of Stefanski either. I could see a Cleveland Browns upset, but I'm going to go with the safe pick here. I have a lot of upsets already on this game pick 'em, but I'm going to go with the safe pick. I'm going to take Baltimore, and I think they get it done. I think they should get it done, and I think they do get it done, but I could see this being closer than expected. So give me the Ravens. And then we have Will Levis, now without DeAndre Hopkins, who was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs this morning, going to Detroit Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions. And guys, I mean, is there much to say here? I mean, I have Detroit in this game. I think this is a pretty easy one to pick. Um, I don't really have much to say about this game, to be honest with you. Detroit at home, coming off a big win against Minnesota. Detroit looks they're on fire right now. Their last loss was against Tampa Bay in week 2. They look amazing. They look like they're living up to the hype. They look like a really good playoff contender again. They're on top of the NFC North right now, and I expect them to only get better. Even with the Hutchinson injury, they beat the my number one team in the power rankings in the previous week, and they beat like pretty much the consensus best team in the league, the Minnesota Vikings. So I mean, I gotta give it to Detroit. Detroit's rolling. They're playing one of the worst teams, Tennessee Titans, right now. Tennessee Titans making 2 trades today. They also traded Ernest Jones to the Seattle Seahawks for Jerome Baker, and they traded Hopkins to the Chiefs. Obviously, they said, but Detroit, they roll and they win. And then, isn't it crazy how we're already in week 8? This is already the rematch of this matchup. Indianapolis and Houston, NFC South duel. I mean, AFC South duel. Sorry. The rematch. These two played week 1 in Indianapolis. I picked the Colts in the first game. I was wrong. I picked the Colts in the first game. These two are already playing for the second time. Indianapolis is 4-3. Somehow they're 4-3. Anthony Richardson is playing some really, really, really bad football, and that's kind of getting swept under the rug. Swept under the rug right now. Not a lot of people are talking about how bad a football Anthony Richardson's playing. I mean, they squeaked past the Tyler Huntley led Miami Dolphins last week. Squeaked past them, but they won the game. They're 4-3. They don't look like a very good 4-3 team, but nonetheless, they are 4-3. Going to Energy Stadium to take on CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans in a division game. Mixon tore these guys up last time. Houston coming off a loss to Green Bay on the Brandon McManus game-winning field goal. Houston's 5-2 right now to stay in the 1 seed race in the AFC. They have to win this game, and I think they rebound. I think they get a sweep of the Indianapolis Colts. Crazy to say a sweep already, as we're only in week 8, and we're already seeing a rematch between these two teams. But Houston's gonna get it done. I think. I think they get it done, and they go to 6-2 and get a much-needed win to make a lot of room for themselves in that AFC South race, and basically probably gonna run away with it. So yeah, Houston gets it done. They get a season sweep of the Indianapolis Colts. And then we have Green Bay and Jacksonville. Jordan Love is balling. He's throwing some interceptions. Don't get me wrong. He's throwing some interceptions, but he's playing some good football right now. Really good football. Obviously, he was injured those 2 weeks at the beginning of the year, but he's coming off a win versus the Houston Texans, and now he's going down to Northern Florida to take on Jacksonville in TIAA Bank Field, Trevor Bank Stadium. Jacksonville, they got the win over New England last week, but that was the New England Patriots. I'm not taking too much of account into that win. I was a big believer in the Jaguars because at the beginning of the year. It's crazy to think of, but I was a big believer in them. I really thought Jacksonville could rebound. I thought Peterson could bring these guys back after the finish of the season they had last year, but it just hasn't looked that way so far, and they've looked like a pretty bad football team. With that being said, this is another pretty easy pick on the week. I mean, I'm not gonna guarantee a Packers win because they do go to Jacksonville. But I mean, Green Bay should run away with this. The NFC North is tight right now, so they need this win to stay in pace with that division with the Lions and Vikings. So they get it done. And then we have a pretty offensive game. Two offenses here. Now with Tua Tagovailoa being back in the lineup, he practiced today and he will start on Sunday, making his return from the concussion. He will be activated from IR. We have the Arizona Cardinals beating the Chargers 17 to 15 on Monday night in the ESPN Plus game, coming off a win. Wasn't a pretty win, but they got it done. Chad Ryland game-winning field goal going down to South Beach, Miami to take on Tua Tagovailoa in the Miami Dolphins. It's Tua's return, his first game action since week 2. Tyreek Hill is pumped about him being back today in a presser. He said, "Start me in fantasy. I'm ready to go. Tua's back. Start me in fantasy. I will not disappoint you, and I'm gonna start him this week, baby. He better not disappoint me." Against a pretty weak Cardinals defense, Tua, Jalen Waddle, Achan, all those guys, their fantasy value skyrockets. And I expect the Dolphins kept their record at 2-4 during the stretch that Tua was out. They obviously had a bye week in there. They didn't play good football at all, but they are still in the midst. And at home, Tua's return. Give me the Miami Dolphins. They're gonna get this done. They're gonna go to 3-4, and they're gonna get this done. They're gonna try to get themselves back in the playoff race, and they are not ending their season yet. They are not calling it over just because Tua missed how many games he missed? 6 games, 5 games. Just because he missed 5 games, they are not putting an end to their season, and they are still going to try to compete. They get this done at home. And then we have an AFC East matchup, the oldest rivalry in the AFC East book. We have the Jets and Patriots, two teams that, what do you even say about them right now? What do you even say about them? The Jets. I believed in them last week. That was one of my picks. That was one of my picks I had wrong on my 12-3 record. A loss to the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. They did not look good. Devontae Adams. Did Devontae Adams stay in his New York apartment? Did he even show up? Did Devontae Adams even show up? Was he even out there? He got locked up. Garrett Wilson obviously dropped the big pass that led to a Steelers interception. Pretty much a pick six. There's a lot going on. They are getting Hassan Reddick back this week. He's probably going to be limited in his first game back, though. Hasn't put on the pads in almost a year. I should say, not over a year, almost a year since he was with Philadelphia last year. I mean, there's going to be some rust there, and they're going to Foxborough. This could be a close game. But I mean, the Patriots, they look bad. They look bad. Gerard Mayo throwing their guys under the bus, calling them soft. Something has to give. And eventually, the Jets have to get a win, right? The Jets have to get a win. They have to eventually win a game. And I think they get it here. I mean, if they don't win here, they might have to fire Jeff Ulbrich, the interim head coach. Oh no, because they call it Robert Sala's fault, and they don't look much better. I'll tell you that much. They do not look much better at all. And yeah, they got to get it here if they want any chance of reviving their season. So, Jets win. They should, at least, hopefully. Already game 2 in that season series, too. They played on Thursday Night Football in week 3 in MetLife. But the Jets get a season sweep on the Patriots. And then we have another rematch, game 2, between some division foes. It is Atlanta and Tampa Bay, this time in Raymond James Stadium. And obviously, there's a lot of things going on with both these teams right now. Atlanta, they coming off a bad loss where Seattle beat the brakes off of them. My upset of the week last week was the Seattle Seahawks over the Atlanta Falcons, and boy, did they deliver. They beat the brakes off the Falcons. The Falcons took a pretty bad loss at home to the Seattle Seahawks offense that tore them up, and they lost. Going to Tampa Bay to take on Baker Mayfield. Now without Mike Evans, he has a hamstring injury. He will be out until at least after the bye week. So he will not be playing this week. Chris Godwin, obviously the devastating injury last week. The devastating injury with a minute left in the game, down 10. I don't blame Todd Bowles. I'm not one of those people that's gonna blame Todd Bowles for that. They still had a they still had a chance to win that game. They were down 10. They could have gone on onside kick. You never know in the NFL. They want all their best guys out there. They want to try to win that game still. It was a 10-point game. I won't be one of those guys that dogs on Todd Bowles, but that's a story for another day. They're banged up right now. And I think pretty much everybody's going to be on the Falcons to win this game. Obviously, these two played Thursday Night Football Week 5 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Atlanta won in a very, very good game. I took the Buccaneers last time, and that was not right. This time, everyone's going to be on the Falcons. I'm riding with the Buccaneers. Odds stacked up against them. Atlanta's healthier. Atlanta's playing better ball. Atlanta's going to run away with the South without Godwin and Evans. I think Baker Mayfield shows up at home and gets it done. And they shut up everybody. And they go to 5-3 while the Falcons drop to 5-4. That's not saying anything for the outlook of the season, but I think Tampa Bay wins this and they split the season series. This is a game that Tampa Bay needs with all the injuries. They have a bye week coming up. Then they have San Francisco after. They have a lot of tough games left. So I'm riding with the Bucks. Give me Tampa Bay in a pretty much upset pick with all the injuries they have. And then we have the premier game of the 1 p.m. window. It's Hurts versus Burrow. The rematch of the college football playoff game versus LSU versus Oklahoma in Cincinnati. White Bengal game. The whiteout, fans wearing white, crowd's gonna be absolutely roaring. Burrow and the guys coming off 2 straight wins. They've won 3 of the last 4. And boy, do we have a big matchup in Cincinnati. Iron Eagle on the call for this game. All the firepower that the Philadelphia Eagles have. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They are without Jordan Mailata, which is going to be a big, big loss against Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is going to be trying to feast on these guys. I believe it's Fred Johnson, the former Bengal, starting in that spot. Can't confirm that, but I believe it's Fred Johnson. And boy, do we have a big matchup in the whiteout. And these Bengals, if you all remember right, these Bengals always have a pretty bad September. They always start off slow. We always have some bad losses. Don't play up to the expectations in September. Everyone calls for people's jobs. Zach Taylor's job gets called for. Burrow gets criticized. Should have paid your wide receivers in the offseason. The defense is trash. And I get it. I get it. It was wins against the Panthers, the Giants, and the Browns. I get it. I fully get it. But if the Cincinnati Bengals win this game, you know what happens. We all know what happens. We all know the run that these guys go on. And we all know what these guys do in October, the late October days, through November, December, and into January. Burrow has these guys rolling when the weather gets cold. You think I'm picking against my Bengals on whiteout day, on a week where they've won 2 in a row, in a game where they need to pick up against an outer conference foe to get back to 500 and start this run, to make this playoff push, get yourself back into the AFC playoff race? Bengals win this game. Give me my guys. Let's go. Joe Burrow, go 1-0 this week. This has to be a Burrow game. I am pumped up. This is going to be an amazing matchup. And Eagles week's always interesting. Last 2 of the last 4 matchups between the Bengals and the Eagles have ended in ties. That's a crazy stat. It's kind of weird, but it's a crazy stat. Give me my Bengals. I'm not picking against them in a game like this. I am not betting against Joe Burrow at home in a whiteout game, like in a game like this. Give me the Bengals. And then we start the 4 o'clock window with the Chargers and the Saints. I mean, this game's not really that fun. Spencer Rattler. I picked the Saints last Thursday night. Spencer Rattler looked horrible. Defense looked bad. Cody Barton for the Broncos was absolutely tearing these guys up. Alvin Kamara getting minimal carries. I didn't understand that. I'm still not a believer in Dennis Allen. Obviously, still no Derek Carr. Still Spencer Rattler starting. Who knows if Olave can go? Obviously, Shaheed's out for the year. Chargers coming off a loss on Monday Night Football. They return home to SoFi Stadium. I mean, I'd rather see the Saints win because the Chargers are in the AFC playoff race, just like the Bengals. But I mean, the Chargers are gonna win this game, right? There's no way they don't. At home, Herbert coming off a pretty good game and a loss. Give me the Chargers. That one's pretty easy to me. I don't see, I don't see any other outcome there. Chargers is the better football team, better coached football team. They're just the better team. And then we have an interesting game. This is very, very interesting with two very good offenses at the helm. The Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen versus the Seattle Seahawks with Geno Smith. Don't see this matchup often because obviously outer conference foes meet every 4 years, usually every 4 years, unless they're same placement in division or stuff like that. But usually every 4 years these two meet. Don't see it much, but this is an interesting game. Very interesting game. Seattle, I picked them last week on the road against Atlanta. I knew that coming off 3 losses in a row, Mike McDonald had to get those guys right. This should be a very good game. This should be a very close game between two very good quarterbacks that can absolutely pass this ball around, pass for a lot of yards. But I mean, you gotta ask yourself in this matchup. To me, you gotta ask yourself, who's the better football team? The Buffalo Bills. Run games are pretty equal. Defensive lines, Seattle Seahawks, they are not getting enough pass rush from their linebackers. They just traded for Ernest Jones today from the Tennessee Titans, sent Jerome Baker over to Tennessee, and they got Ernest Jones, the former Ram, getting traded for the second time in like 2 months or 3 months and all that. He's back in the NFC West with the Seattle Seahawks. Who knows how much he plays? But they're not getting enough from their pass rush right now. That's bottom line. The better team's the Buffalo Bills. The better quarterback's the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Buffalo Bills. All right, go. Buffalo gets it done. They go to 6-2 on the year, and they look like they're running away with the AFC East. I mean, Miami could maybe make competitive next week. Last week's video, I made a mistake. I said it was Miami Buffalo this week. Miami Buffalo is actually next week, so that could be pretty interesting. Obviously, Tua got hurt last time in week 2 against the Bills. That'll be the rematch in that game. Tua will be back, obviously, so that should be an interesting game. But this week, it's Buffalo and Seattle. And Buffalo, they get a big win. And then we got the game where the Bengals and Eagles got flexed out of 4 o'clock window for the Bears and the Commanders. Obviously, was supposed to be Caleb versus Daniels, but it's looking like Jaden Daniels might not be able to go. He did not practice today, and it looks like Marcus Mariota's in line to start. Nothing guaranteed yet, but Dan Quinn hasn't shown any optimism that Jaden Daniels will be able to go. It's pretty disappointing that we got robbed of Caleb versus Daniels, number one versus number two pick. Obviously, two uprising NFC teams with a lot of future potential, and that will be a rivalry from years to come. Same draft class, obviously the 2024 class, and it'll be a treat to watch those two go at it in the coming years. But it's looking like Marcus Mariota. Nothing set in stone, but that's the way it's looking in the DMV. In Northwest Stadium with Daniels. With Daniels, this would be a much harder pick. But without Daniels, I'm gonna go with the Bears. I'm gonna go with the Bears without Daniels for sure. With Daniels would be a much harder pick, but even with Daniels, I'm gonna be honest. I like the Bears in this matchup even with Daniels. I think Caleb Williams before the bye, they're coming off the bye week. Caleb Williams before the bye looked much better than he did. He looked nails against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. 4 touchdown passes looked good. He is only getting better, and the Bears are 4-2. Even with Caleb Williams not playing the greatest ball in the first few weeks of the season. Obviously, people were already jumping the gun and calling him a bust. That was wrong. The NFC North is absolutely stacked right now, and it's going to be an absolute gauntlet down the stretch with all these guys. And yeah, give me the Bears in this matchup with or without Daniels. But with Daniels, his pick would be a lot harder. Nance and Romer are on the call for this game, a 4-2 versus a 5-2 team. This is a big NFC matchup. No matter how you want to put it, even without Daniels, big NFC matchup, big game come playoff time. And then we have a Super Bowl 50 matchup. Is the Bryce Young led Carolina Panthers. Obviously, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, was in a car accident yesterday. Sad story. He's good, but he did hurt his hand. I think they reported he hurt his hand. Dave Canales said that Bryce Young will start this week. Dalton didn't practice today, and they don't expect Dalton to play this week. So Bryce Young's back, and he is starting. First, the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, who picked up the win versus the Saints on Thursday night. That defense is stifling. Surtain was in concussion protocol, potentially back for this game. I believe Surtain should be back because it's been a long time since the concussion happened. 2 weeks. This Sunday would be 2 weeks. But yeah, the Denver defense with Vance Joseph is playing good ball. And I've fallen into the Bryce Young Carolina trap before. It pains me to be able to do this because I've fallen into this trap and I know I'm going to regret it if they lose. But give me the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, listen, I'm still a believer in Bryce Young. I still think he can play good ball. I still believe it was a terrible situation in Carolina. I know Dalton played better ball, and I know I'm probably delusional for still believing in him. But I still believe in him. I think he can still be a good player. I think he needs more reps. It's a Carolina team that's not going anywhere anyway. Bryce Young has nothing to lose. I think he shouldn't be scared to sling that thing around. And I think after all these weeks of Dalton starting, Bryce Young's going to step in there, play a good game, and win the football game in Mile High. And they're going to upset the Denver Broncos, who dropped to 4-4. I'm taking the Panthers. And then we have an AFC West matchup between the only undefeated team remaining, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Raiders, who look pretty bad. Aiden O'Connell going to IR this past week. It will be Minshew and starting again. So, the Chiefs and Raiders, I feel like these two teams always play close. These two teams meet again on Black Friday. This is game one in Las Vegas. They meet in Kansas City on Black Friday. Am I crazy to think this might be a close game? The Chiefs haven't been playing up to their full potential. I switched my pick from the 49ers to the Chiefs last week. That was a good call by me. The Chiefs ended up winning. Am I crazy for thinking this be close? Because the Raiders aren't playing the best ball right now. Alex Madison's playing some good ball. Brock Bowers played some good ball. Jacoby Myers should be back. I think this could be a close game, and I could see the Raiders upsetting because the Raiders always play this team close. I feel like they always play this team close. But I'm gonna take the Chiefs. I'm gonna ride with the safe pick. Similar to the Baltimore Cleveland game, division matchup. I'm gonna ride with the safe pick though. Give me the Chiefs. I could see it being a close game though. Not gonna lie. So oldest trick in the book. These two beat on Sunday Night Football every single year. It feels like, but they meet again. They meet again. There's always hype around this game. A much needed game for both these NFC teams, though. Both of them haven't lived up to par. Cowboys are 3-3 coming off the bye week. 49ers coming off a loss versus the Chiefs at 3-4. Debo Samuel played 6% of snaps last week because he had pneumonia, fluids in his lungs. Obviously, a terrible story. Explains why he was pretty much out last week. Brandon Ayuk got lost for the season last week. Torn ACL and MCL, I believe. Absolute heartbreaking. He got placed on IR. He's done for the year. Still no McCaffrey. It's Jordan Mason back there. But on Sunday Night Football in Levi's Stadium, the 49ers seem to always have these guys' number. I don't know why. I feel like Brock Purdy in the Niners. This will be a George Kittle game. I can already see it. I can already see George Kittle getting in the end zone twice. I can see it. George Kittle will get in the end zone a few times. This is a George Kittle game. Purdy finds his safety blanket in the middle of the field a few times. George Kittle game. The 49ers take care of him here. And they give Dallas a bad loss. Dallas has a lot of tough games remaining. They have a lot of tough opponents to play. And that this is a much needed win for them. But I think the 49ers get it done at home. So give me the Niners. And then wrapping up the picks with Monday Night Football. It is the Giants and Steelers. And call me crazy. I think this could be a close game, and I think this could be a tough pick to make. It might be my Bengals bias in me for the Steelers losing, but I don't know. Russell Wilson, Mike Tomlin shut up all the haters with Russell Wilson putting up a damn good performance on Sunday Night Football. George Pickens looked absolutely alive. Jalen Warren was playing well. The Steelers looked good. They looked good. And it pains me to say it, they looked good. And they're 5-2 now. They have a tough stretch. Post bye week, they have a really tough stretch. But they look good right now. The Giants coming off a blowout loss to the Eagles where Saquon Barkley made his return to MetLife Stadium and ran all over them. Let me say this. I'm going to ride with the Steelers. I'm going to ride with the Steelers on the initial picks video. This game's a Monday Night Football game. So if all of Sunday goes past, and I'm going to ride with the Steelers and stick with them. If all of Sunday goes past and I change my mind, I might switch to the Giants. I cannot confirm or deny, but I could see myself switching to the New York Giants in this game. I could see a Giants upset here in Pittsburgh, but I'm going to ride with the home team. I'm going to ride with the big favorite to start off in this video, but this could be a pick that I switch. So keep that in mind. But yeah, finishing it off, those are the picks. Rams, Ravens, Lions, Texans, Packers, Dolphins, Jets, Bucks, Bengals, Chargers, Bills, Bears, Panthers, Chiefs, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh. My lock of the week is Detroit over Tennessee, and my upset's Carolina over Denver. Those two being my locks and upsets. Detroit would be the blue and the gray, and Carolina would be the black and the blue. So, yep, those are the game picks, and hopefully have another good week. We are hot right now. Two back-to-back 12-win weeks. Obviously, we have 16 games this week, too, 0 bye weeks this week. So it will be a fun week. It'll be a really fun week. I'm really excited for Bengals Eagles, and yeah, it'll be interesting. So now let's hop right into the power rankings. And then we have the week 8 power rankings. We have the Chiefs retaking their spot at number 1, replacing the Vikings after being the only undefeated team remaining and trading for DeAndre Hopkins. So yeah, they can't keep getting away with it. I mean, the champs, they make the right moves. I won't shy away from it. They make the right moves, and they're back to number 1. So I have Detroit at number 2 after beating Minnesota. Baltimore, they're hot right now. They won 5 in a row. They go to number 3. Minnesota drops 3 spots, but don't take that -3 into much account. They are still a damn good football team, and I still have them up here justifiably. Packers at number 5. 3 NFC North teams in the top 5 shows how good that division's been this season. Buffalo stays at number 6. Steelers go back up to number 5 with the commanding Russell Wilson win. Commanders +1 with Mariota playing most of the game. Texans -5 with the loss to Green Bay. Seattle +6 with the win over Atlanta. Atlanta to 11. 49ers at 12. 49ers lose this week. They could take a big drop. Bears and Eagles back to back. They stay the same. Buccaneers with a -7. Pretty much strictly because Godwin and Mike Evans injuries. That will take them down a lot, and that will demote them a lot in the power rankings. Cardinals going up 1 with the win over the Chargers. Those two are back to back. Broncos at 18 up 3 with the good defensive performance against New Orleans. Cowboys stay the same on the bye week. My Bengals go up 3 with the win over Cleveland. Good defensive performance from them. Obviously, it's the Browns offense, but up 3 over the Colts. The Colts are 4-3, but they haven't shown me anything convincing yet, in my opinion. Rams at 22, Jets at 23. Jets lose this week to New England. They might be at 32, and I'm not even kidding. The Dolphins at 24, Saints at 25. Dolphins, I have to go back to the Dolphins real quick. Dolphins at 24, going up 5 with the loss, specifically because Tua will be back in the lineup. If Tua wasn't back this week, they'd still be down in the deep depths of these power rankings. So Tua back this week, they go up 5 at 24. Saints, Jags, Giants, Raiders at 28, Titans at 29, losing Hopkins now. Browns at 30, Jameis Winston starting this week. They don't move at all. Offense looks terrible. Panthers at 31, and then the Patriots staying at 32, not moving at all, with the loss to Jacksonville being pretty much easily the worst team in the league. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the game picks and power rankings. To week 8, we've had 2 good weeks in a row. Let's build on that. Let's get better. I'm excited. This football season's been fun. So yeah, I'm really excited for this week. Bengals, Eagles, I'm pumped. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.